Ever notice you're always the one sitting in the corner seat or stuck at the end of the table? Force yourself out of that spot, because in Russia, folklore says the corner seat delays marriage by 7 years. Picture it. Every family dinner, every holiday gathering, someone quietly clocking who sits where before anyone even picks up a fork. People their angle for the middle of the table on purpose every single time because nobody wants to be the reason they're still single a decade from now. Didn't know that? Here are 16 country superstitions that might explain why you're still single. The letter you step on. Stop walking without looking down, because the ground might already be telling you something. In Sweden, people only step on manhole covers stamped with a K, never the ones marked A. Imagine an entire city quietly zigzagging down the sidewalk, subtly hopping over letters like it's a game nobody explained to tourists. The K stands for kärlek, the Swedish word for love, and stepping on the wrong letter is believed to invite heartbreak instead of romance. The dream that reveals your spouse. This is why you should never skip dinner on the eve of the feast of Saint Sargis. In Armenia, unmarried people eat a piece of salted bread alone before bed on that night, specifically so they'll get thirsty enough to dream. It's a strange kind of faith, deliberately making yourself uncomfortable overnight just to see who shows up in your sleep. Tradition says a stranger appears in the dream to bring you water, and that stranger is your future spouse. The doorstep smash and the oracle's silence. Stay in Europe for a second, because Greece stacks two rituals into one night. At midnight on New Year's, people smash a pomegranate against their own front door. The more seeds that scatter, the more love heading their way that year. There's something almost theatrical about it, standing alone on your own doorstep at midnight, throwing fruit at your own house on purpose. And if you're near one of the old oracle sites, visit alone and sit in silence for a while, since stepping into that stillness is believed to reveal a vision of who and when you'll fall in love. 12 grapes and red underwear. Speaking of New Year's rituals, Spain does something similar but louder. At midnight, people eat 12 grapes, one per chime of the clock, making a love wish on each one. Try doing that without choking. 12 wishes, 12 grapes, 12 chances to get one thought in edgewise before the bell rings again. And while you're chewing through all 12, tradition says to already be wearing red underwear, the most common solo love charm in the country for the year ahead. The moon timed candle. This is why some people in Italy light a candle when nobody's watching. Take a red candle, carve or write the name of your crush into the wax, and light it specifically as the moon is waxing, growing fuller each night. There's a quiet patience to it, checking the sky every evening, waiting for the right lunar phase before you even strike the match. The belief is that as the moon builds, so does their attraction to you. The name steeped in water. Stay with candles for a second, because France does something quieter with paper instead of wax. Write the name of the person you want on a slip of paper, wrap it inside a rose petal, and soak the whole thing in a bowl of water overnight. Somewhere in France tonight, there's a bowl sitting on the windowsill with someone's name slowly dissolving into the water, and nobody else in the house even knows it's there. It's meant to slowly steep their feelings towards you, the same way you'd steep tea. The mannequin. Did you know a mannequin can apparently do the same job? In Indonesia, the same name on paper trick shows up again, but instead of water, the paper gets pinned onto a mannequin overnight. Alone in a room with a mannequin standing in the corner, a piece of paper pinned to its chest like it's holding someone else's future. That's the image this ritual actually asks for. By morning, tradition says whatever attention the mannequin held transfers onto you instead. The 7-day ribbon bind. Stop keeping crush photos loose in a drawer, at least according to this one. In Mexico, a common solo ritual is wrapping a photo of the person you want in red ribbon and leaving it tied for 7 full days. 7 days is a long time to keep checking on a photo to see if the ribbon is still tight, to wonder if it's actually working. The ribbon is believed to physically bind their romantic interest to you over that week. The final petal's verdict. This is why you should never rush through a flower without paying attention. The classic loves me not, plucking one petal at a time, actually comes from English folk tradition, and whichever phrase lands on the final petal is taken as your literal romantic fate. It sounds childish until you're actually standing alone in a garden, genuinely holding your breath on the last petal. The mirror that shows your future husband. Stop eating apples in the light if you're doing this one right. In Scotland, the ritual is to eat an apple slowly in front of a mirror, alone, at midnight, by candlelight only. There's something genuinely unsettling about deliberately dimming every light in the house just to stare at your own reflection while you chew. Tradition says that if you keep watching the glass while you chew, a vision of your future husband will eventually appear behind you in the reflection. The clover in your shoe and the moonlit whisper. And Ireland gives you 2 ways to close a night like that out. First, tuck a 4-leaf clover into your shoe before you leave the house, since the belief is the first person you cross paths with on a bridge afterward becomes your spouse. Then, once you're home, hold a mirror up to catch the full moon's reflection and whisper your intention out loud, alone in the dark. An old Irish charm said to summon love directly to you. 2 entire rituals in one night, and neither one requires another living soul to show up. The clover under your pillow. When you go home tonight, tuck a 4-leaf clover under your pillow before you fall asleep. Some people swear they've done this on a whim during a bad breakup and woken up remembering a dream so specific it stayed with them for weeks. Old American folk belief says a young man or woman who does this will dream of their future spouse's face by morning. The invisible thread on your finger. Look at your own pinky finger right now and quietly believe it's already tied to someone. Chinese folklore holds that everyone has an invisible red thread looped around their little finger since birth, connecting them to the one person they're destined to meet, no matter how far apart or how long it takes. It's the kind of belief that makes waiting less painful because somewhere out there, the other end of that thread is supposedly tugging back. It's less a ritual you perform and more a belief you carry, but it's the reason so many people there refuse to give up on the one. The Thursday Tree Devotion. If you're single and it feels like nothing's working, some women there worship a banana tree, specifically on Thursdays, tying sacred thread around its trunk and praying alone for a partner. Week after week, the same tree, the same thread, the same quiet request repeated until someone finally answers it. The tree is tied to Lord Vishnu and the planet Jupiter, and tradition says consistent Thursday devotion is believed to draw the right person into your life. The 7 waves of the sea goddess. And to close it all out, at midnight on New Year's, head to any body of water alone and jump over 7 incoming waves, making 1 wish per wave. 7 waves, 7 wishes, and the ocean deciding at the end of it whether any of them land. It's dedicated to Imanja, the goddess of the sea, and one version of the tradition says greeting someone of the opposite sex right after midnight specifically brings luck in your love life for the year. Interested in more superstition and folklore? Subscribe.